Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Child's Play 2 from 1990. Personally, I think Child's Play 2 is definitely a confident step in the right direction, and is also widely regarded as the fan favourite movie in the series, and there's no question why. This film is absolutely phenomenal, so today I'm going to take you through it, and also tell you all of my opinions about the film as well. Not only is this usually the fan favourite movie, but it's also my favourite movie, and one reason because of that is Chucky's design. I don't know why, but there's something about it in this film that Chucky's design looks really good. I don't know why. It's something about it. It's a lot more sinister looking, but also doesn't go well over the top. It's quite a simple kind of scary. And I really like it, and not to mention the animatronics are significantly better in this film. The way that Chucky walks looks a lot more natural compared to the other film, which some ways could be seen as a little bit more robotic. So the way that they make it look a lot more natural looks really good. And in the scene that I'm showing right now, Chucky's walking and it looks really good. It looks like the doll is actually moving, and that's exactly what they're going for, and they do it perfectly. Another thing I liked about the film were the kills. Whether it was Phil breaking his neck, Joanne's disturbing reveal, or even Chucky himself being blown to pieces, this movie was not afraid to get bloody and gory. Another thing I really like about this film was the settings. Whether it was the school scenes or at the Good Guy Factory, this movie has some really good locations and they actually suit the movie perfectly, especially the Good Guy Factory. The Good Guy Factory is just the perfect place where to end Child's Play 2 with the whole blowing up thing and the whole place where it kind of began, because obviously they built him there. It's just a really good circular structure that they have going on here. Another thing that I really liked about this film was the foster sibling type bond that Andy and Kyle had. It was something unique, especially with horror films. You don't usually get to see this type of bond, and the fact that they both survive really works. A lot of films, they try and kill off their entire cast, but with this one, it's nice to see that they try and keep her alive, especially since she's coming back in the sequel TV series, which I'm really excited for. The cinematography in this movie was pretty good. While it wasn't exactly outstanding, it did have some pretty decent shots, like with Chucky looking up the staircase. There's nice, simple, creepy shots, but they also weren't bad either, and it's something that I really appreciate about the film. Now, if there's one thing this movie definitely does have, is some iconic Chucky quotes. This is probably the most quotable film of the entire franchise, so you know what? I'm just going to play a bunch of them.
You've been very naughty, Miss Kennel. How's it hanging, Phil? Amazing, isn't it? Close your eyes and count to 7. When you wake, you'll be in heaven. You little shit! Do you know what you've done? It's too late! I've spent too much time in this body! I'm fucking trapped in here! What the hell? Surprise! Did you miss me, Andy? I sure missed you. I told you. We were gonna be friends to the end. And now, it's time to play.
Now, you need to remember that these are only quotes. These are only part of his personality, and this is where the later movies go wrong. With Bride and Seed of Chucky, they take this small comedic part of his personality and make it his entire personality, and it doesn't work at all. With this movie, it has a perfect balance of being comedic, but also scary. You could be scared of Chucky, but also find a laugh as well, and I think this movie has literally the perfect balance of that. Another thing this movie is actually really good at is, being a sequel. It continues really well off the original story. For example, Andy is a lot more self-aware. He's aware of what Chucky did before and learns from it. Like, for example, well, in the last video I showed you that Karen found no batteries in Chucky's back. Well, in this film, Andy actually checks Chucky's back and he has batteries in there. So yes, of course, he didn't find out it was Chucky. But also, one key thing is to remember is it makes sense. When he was being rebuilt, they put batteries in him. So it really works. It really, really works to show that, one, Andy knows what he's doing, but also to not stitch out Chucky too early. Because if he was to find out that Chucky's alive too early, he'd just burn him. So a decent amount of people don't actually like this, but I like how much damage Chucky takes before he dies. He gets his hand completely ripped off, he also gets the bottom half of his body cut off, and finally he gets completely blown up. I absolutely love how bloody and gory it gets. It's the perfect way to end off the film, and also, like I said with the last video, the amount of damage Chucky takes before dying just shows how scary he is. You're not just going to stab this guy and he's going to die. It takes a lot to take him down. And still, after all of the damage he takes, he comes back in the next film. I think that just makes Chucky 10 times more scary. And that's also why the future movies, Bride and Seed of Chucky, really struggle with this. Because he dies very easily. And that just, it makes him even less scary than he already is in those films. Now it's time to get into some of the movie's flaws, and the main flaws that I've seen is just the acting. It's not as good as the last film, and also it doesn't really sound that natural. It sounds quite forced, and it's also very slow. Every scene just kind of drags on and just feels like you're waiting for the next line rather than it being a natural conversation. And obviously part of that is to blame because it's a product of its time, exactly. Like, dialogue in movies, they change over time. It evolves. And obviously, how we see dialogue in movies has changed over the years. But this, it just feels so awkward. But for me, I don't really mind. But I guess a lot of people, that would drag back the film. But for me, that really doesn't matter. But I have to say the flaws of a film. And at the end of the day, the dialogue can be a bit awkward. Not with Chucky, though. It's always the people who are actually with each other in the scene. When it's someone voicing over another character like Chucky, there's no problems, which is a bit weird, isn't it? Alright, now it's time for the conclusion, and that is Child's Play 2 is a really good film. For me, a bit of a spoiler to a video I want to make in the future, my top 10 favourite movies, and that is Child's Play 2 is actually one of my favourite films of all time. It is in that list. I adore this film because it has the best Chucky, some of the best kills, the best quotes, and that just overall is the best package for me. I don't look for an absolute masterpiece, of course I do, but I just like things that are more personal. I think the Child's Play franchise is extremely good, so the best movie in the franchise is of course going to be in my top 10. I adore this film. I know some people may not like it, some people might like it even more than me. I personally think it's the best in the series and overall a really good experience. If you haven't watched this movie, I highly suggest you do. Now, what's my ratings? And that is, a bit biased. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I absolutely adore this film, like I just said, and I think it's the best in the franchise. Just gonna say it, I think it's the best one. That all aside though, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, and also comment down below, have you seen Child's Play 2, and if you did, what do you think of the film? And finally, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every single time I upload. If you want to see me live, you can click on my link tree, there'll be at my Twitch link, and also if you want to see the highlights of those streams, you can go and click down on the link tree again and find my Instagram. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks everyone for watching. The next video is going to be Child's Play 3. 1991. So, see you then. Bye.